Today's story highlights the incredible power of human resilience. The bar was loud that night, the kind of place where cigarette smoke curled against dim lights, laughter mixed with curses, and the clink of glass drowned out softer voices. It was a place of shadows and noise, where tough men wore leather and tattoos like armor, and where the world seemed to forget about the fragile souls who worked behind the counter. Among them was Emily, a quiet waitress who carried herself with humility and a grace that no one seemed to notice. She wasn't the type to draw attention, dressed simply in jeans and a white button shirt, her hair tied back, her steps quick and efficient. Yet, beneath her calm face and tired smile, there was a storm she carried in silence, one she had never spoken of, one that few could ever imagine. That night, when a group of bikers rolled into the bar, the atmosphere shifted. They laughed too loud, shoved hard enough, and demanded attention like predators circling weaker prey. Emily tried to avoid their eyes, keeping to her work. But fate has a way of cornering the quiet ones. One of them, tall and broad, with tattoos crawling across his arms and a cruel smirk etched into his face, grew restless. He taunted her, insulted her, tried to shake her composure, and when she refused to flinch, his pride boiled over. In front of the entire bar, he grabbed her shirt and ripped it open with a sneer. Gasps filled the room. Laughter followed, but then something happened. What the crowd expected to see was weakness, shame, and vulnerability. What they saw instead froze them in their seats. Etched across her chest, bold and unshaken, was a tattoo of the United States Marine Corps emblem. It wasn't just ink, it was a story of sacrifice, of battles fought, of courage that ran deeper than scars. The room went silent. Even the biker who had ripped her shirt faltered, his hand trembling, his cruel grin fading. For in that moment, they all realized Emily wasn't just a waitress. She was a Marine. But the biker, his face flushed with anger and embarrassment, tried to recover. "Oh, so what? You think being a Marine makes you better than us?" He sneered, gesturing towards the logo on her chest. "You're just a waitress." He spat on the floor at her feet. "A waitress who can take care of herself," a voice boomed from behind the biker. A tall, muscular figure emerged from the crowd, striding towards them. "She may be a waitress, but she's also a damn good Marine, something you'll never understand." The biker snarled, taking a step forward, but the newcomer stood firm. "I've seen what she's capable of. You don't want to mess with her." The biker scoffed, unconvinced. "And what if I do?" he challenged. "We'll see how that works out for you." But the newcomer replied, his tone leaving no room for argument. With that, he turned and walked away, leaving the biker and the rest of the crowd to stew in their confusion. What was the newcomer's name? How did he know Emily, and why did he defend her so fiercely? Well, his name was Michael, and he had served alongside Emily during their time in the Marine Corps. He had heard about her from mutual friends after he had returned home and had come to the bar to meet her, knowing full well the trouble that always seemed to follow her, and he was right. This incident was far from the first time someone had tried to pick a fight with her because of her tattoo. However, while the other Marines in the bar had stayed silent, unable to stop the biker without causing a scene, Michael knew exactly what to say. The biker's taunts were met with silence from the rest of the bar's patrons. Each man there had likely seen more than their fair share of drunken brawls, and they understood the gravity of what was happening. Emily, composed and quiet, remained focused on her work. Her silence was powerful, speaking volumes of the battles she had already faced and won. Michael watched her with admiration. He knew her strength wasn't just in her ability to endure, but in her refusal to let others bring her down. As the hours passed, the bar emptied. The bikers eventually left, their bravado fading with their drunken stupor. Outside, Emily leaned against the door, feeling the cool night air on her skin. Michael joined her, a silent understanding passing between them. They didn't speak much, but in the quiet, Emily felt a sense of camaraderie, a shared history that transcended words. Together they had seen the worst of humanity, yet they still chose to serve, still chose to protect. The tattoo on Emily's chest wasn't just a symbol of her past, it was a testament to her resilience, a reminder of the strength she found within. Her story is a reflection of the countless men and women who return home from service only to find themselves grappling with the aftermath. Battles fought overseas become internal struggles, memories of loss and trauma linger, and the transition back to civilian life can feel like another war altogether. But Emily's story also offers a glimpse of hope, demonstrating how the quietest of souls can possess the greatest strength and reminding us that sometimes the bravest hearts beat beneath the most unassuming exteriors. In our modern era, acts of kindness can touch us in profound ways. But amidst the challenges and divisions that seem to dominate our headlines, Emily's story is a beacon of hope. It shows that compassion and empathy can bind us together, reminding us that we all have the capacity for greatness. Whether you're a seasoned veteran or a newcomer to the field, remember the lessons Emily teaches. In the face of adversity, remain steadfast. Let your actions speak louder than words. And above all, never underestimate the power of human resilience. Emily's story echoes the experiences of many, a testament to the strength that resides in those who have endured hardship and still choose to stand tall. If you're inspired by her journey and wish to support more stories like hers, consider supporting us. Your generosity can help amplify these stories and ensure they reach even more people, spreading messages of hope and resilience around the world. As the years passed, Emily's life seemed to settle into a quiet rhythm. The memory of that night faded into local legend, a story told and retold until it took on a life of its own. The regulars at the bar had come to know her not just as the Marine, but as Emily, the quiet waitress with a heart as big as her spirit. She continued to work, finding solace in the routine, the clatter of plates, the chatter of customers, the shared smiles and nods. It was a comforting symphony that played out day after day. But life has a way of testing even the quietest souls. A sudden illness took one of the bartenders, leaving a gap that fell on Emily's shoulders. She picked up the slack without complaint, pouring extra drinks, serving more tables, helping out wherever needed. It wasn't just the physical work. It was the responsibility, the worry that if she faltered, the bar wouldn't survive. It was another battle, one she didn't choose, but one she faced head-on. Meanwhile, Michael's life had taken him further afield. His marine career had brought him to new postings, new assignments, and eventually to a new city. Yet, despite the miles, he couldn't shake the thought of Emily from his mind. He remembered her quiet strength, her unwavering resolve, and the way she carried herself with a dignity that belied the hardships she had faced. He wondered how she was, how she had weathered the storms of life, and if she still stood tall. Years passed, and the bar became a familiar landmark in Emily's life. She had seen countless faces come and go, each bringing their own stories, their own sorrows, their own joys. She listened without judgment, offered a kind word, a warm smile, a shoulder to lean on. To the patrons who frequented the bar, she was a constant, a steady presence in a world that seemed to spin faster with each passing year. Then one evening, as the last rays of sunlight painted the sky in hues of orange and purple, the door opened, admitting a tall figure silhouetted against the light. It was Michael. Time had been kind to him. His face was etched with the lines of experience, his eyes holding the depth of a life well lived. Yet, as he stepped into the bar, Emily's eyes, trained to miss nothing, saw the familiar swagger in his walk, the set of his shoulders, the way he carried himself. Time might have changed them, but some things, some bonds, some stories never fade. And as their eyes met across the room, a shared smile broke out, a silent acknowledgement of a bond forged in fire, tempered by life, and strengthened by the quiet passage of time. The bar, with its dim lights and faded photographs, seemed to shrink, to become a space containing only the two of them and the echoes of their laughter. They spoke of their journeys, their trials, their triumphs, and the dreams that still flickered within them. The years melted away, and they were just two Marines sharing stories beneath a boundless sky. It was as if the bar, the customers, the world itself had ceased to exist. There was only Michael and Emily, their shared past binding them together, their hopes for the future intertwining like the smoke from their cigarettes. And as the night deepened, they realized that some connections, once made, never truly break. Some battles are fought not with weapons, but with the resilience of the spirit, with the quiet strength that comes from facing life's adversities and still standing tall.